In favor?
25, please call the roll.
Mr. Dahl?
Here.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Here.
Dr. Graff? Here. Megan Sparks? Here. Dr. Rohr?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Next, I just want to make a motion to approve the agenda with the exclusion of executive session, which we will not need.
So moved. Second?
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff? Yes. Megan Sparks? Yes. Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Youth Art Month and Music in Our Schools Month.
So I just want to make just a quick note to share with those in attendance tonight and with the public. This is always an exciting time of the year for the district. We have a lot of activities that take place this time of the year for our students, for our staff. A lot of those activities are taking place right now, tonight specifically. But as we mentioned, it's March is Youth Art Month. We've had our K-8 art exhibit. It's been on display in the Performing Arts Center. It's open tonight until 7 o'clock. It's a really neat display of some of our kids' artwork in grades K through 8, and I would just encourage anyone to go down and check out the art show here at the high school. We'll have a visual arts teacher there in place throughout the sessions that it's open. So just a great opportunity to kind of touch base with our staff and see some of our students that go through. It's always fun to see them smile when they see their artwork at the show. And then later on tonight, if you stick around after the meeting, the band, Centerville Band Showcase starts at 7 o'clock in the gym. And so it's all of our bands combined. And my understanding is the grand finale is really, really good. So if you stick around for the grand finale, I think you'll be impressed with what our kids do. So again, we just appreciate community support to be able to have those types of programs here in our district. So thank you.
Thank you. Just quick before we go to public participation, Amanda, you want to make your announcement about the letters that are here?
Sure.
Before I forget, like I did last time.
Sure. We do have the same Herd Up and Speak Out table in the back, and I'll probably take it with me over to the band showcase this evening, where we have envelopes, labels, templates for our legislators. If you feel so moved to reach out to them and speak up for public education, we have all the materials to make it very easy for you to do.
Thanks. Public participation. Board of Education recognizes the value to school governance and public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters and community interest. The presiding officer, which is me, of the board meeting at the public participation is permitted to, which public participation is permitted, shall administer the following rules. Portion of the meeting for participation of the public shall be limited to 30 minutes. Participation sign-up sheets 30 minutes before the meeting. Can register to other speakers to speak and may not participate more than one time. Will first be recognized by me. Please address. I think everyone knows the procedure. Paul, it's all yours again.
Good evening, Paul Subject, Washington Township. Does anyone on the board ever ask themselves how much is enough? How much property tax revenue do you need to educate the children? During the last levy request, you said that if the taxpayers only approved your request for $11.2 million a year, it would be probably 6 years before you would ask the taxpayers to support another levy. Referencing the 5-year forecast, starting in 2026 when the teacher's contract will be renewed to 2029, the new levy will generate $44.8 million. Yet by 2029, 4 short years, we'll be deficit spending $2,747,816. Salary increases and retirement insurance fund the fuel deficit. The other budget categories, purchasing services, supplies and materials, capital outlays, are all relatively flat over that 4-year span. Salaries and benefits that you control creates the deficit. Are you capable of living within your revenue stream? But Paul, you just described the levy cycle. So what's your point? Well, my point is that over that four-year span, your new revenue stream is not $44.8 million. It is in fact $64.8 million. You do not discuss the additional $5 million a year you're receiving from Montgomery County's inside millage increase due to property reappraisals. 20 million additional dollars on top of the new levy revenue, and you propose to spend it all. So I ask again, how much revenue do you need from the taxpayers? When is enough enough? You are not the funding arm of the Centerville Classroom Teachers Association. With $64.8 million of new revenue over 4 years, you shouldn't be back to the taxpayers for at least 7 or 8 years. Revamp the 5-year forecast, align the salaries and benefit increases to match the revenue stream without creating a deficit. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, board and administrative reports, legislative reports.
I'll be brief today.
Yes, no, you're
Thank you. With our packed agenda and the time constraints tonight, I'm just going to touch on a couple of highlights. I do have a more complete report available, and Mrs. Swan and I will hopefully work to make it available if anyone would like it. Our state legislature is moving quickly. There remains a great deal of uncertainty at the state and federal level, with news of reducing staff at the Department of Education and several of the initiatives introduced in the state. I continue to ask our community members to choose a topic that you feel strongly about and reach out to your legislators. All the contact information is public, easily accessible. The 5 Calls app can help if you want to make phone calls. Letters and emails are also options, and as I mentioned, there are labels, envelopes, and ideas for how to structure your letters available tonight after the band concert, and if you'd like me to drop packets off at your home, I am more than willing to do that also. We've heard that if a legislator's office receives 4 similar comments from the public, they consider that something to look further into. And Mrs. Sparks and I will be up at the State House tomorrow for an Ohio School Boards Association Legislative Day, so working from that end as well. Just a couple of the education-related legislative topics at the State House right now include House Bill 96, which we talked about last month. The state biennial budget is well underway in the House committee process. It's an incredibly important area for advocacy from our end. There have been multiple hearings in House committees, including education, in the last 2 weeks. This included interested party testimony from both OSBA and the Ohio Education Policy Institute. As we heard from Ms. Sauber and Mr. Wesney last month, the proposed budget could likely lead to a decrease in state dollars for our district. In addition, we mentioned last month Senate Bill 107, and the House introduced its companion bill March 6th, House Bill 153. This is the bill that would require state and school district board member candidates to be nominated by primary election and then appear on the ballot with a party designation. It's not clear when this would take effect, but certainly is clear that it would likely discourage some very helpful candidates from running, and it would increase the cost of doing so also. Additionally, House Bill 155 and Senate Bill 113, which are identical, have been introduced similar to federal orders that have come down to prohibit diversity, equity, and inclusion in public schools. I put the wording of the bills here on the slides for anyone who's interested. It would mandate that the Board of Education adopts and enforces a policy prohibiting all of the following. It's supposedly not going to touch curriculum at this point, and is mostly related to employment. And then it would establish the process where anyone can submit a complaint in the community about an alleged violation, and then the board would have to investigate those violations. And you may have also seen the portal that's kind of been created already for community members to file complaints. So please hurry up and speak out. And if you are curious about ways to reach out to legislators, there are a number of us who are more than willing to help you. And then I know they've got all the slides for the other bills that are still moving forward as far as we've got, the Historical Documents Act and freezing property taxes for certain populations and more vouchers and expansion of Ed Choice scholarships. There are a lot coming down the pike that will have a variety of different impacts on our district. So I'm more than happy to help anyone filter through the information at any point. That's all that I have.
Thank you. And again, if you want to know about all those other things, please let Amanda know, because there's a lot out there that we could use your help on. Student reps, anything tonight? No.
I'm alone this meeting, but
The leprechaun is on your head, you're not alone.
recently at our Miami Valley Roundtable meeting that we had this past weekend, we discussed various bills that were just talked about. Bills like House Bill 96 that talk about the funding. We talked about House Bill 19, which requires districts and schools to develop mathematics improvements and monitoring plans for math intervention for those students who don't pass the third grade math assessment. It's basically requiring schools to provide intervention and help for those students. We went over bills like Senate Bill 34 that was previously just discussed with the historical documents. And basically the point of the meeting was just to determine what our area of focus wanted to be, and we determined that it was going to be centered around House Bill 96. So we plan on writing letters to our legislators and advocating for the choice that we determined. And that's essentially it. We plan on contacting our representatives and getting the community involved. We will have a table at the high school soon where students who support or whichever stance they have on the vouchers, they can write to their legislator. So we'll have that table set up for easy access so they can send letters to their representatives. That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, next, OSBA Spring Conference update.
I attended the spring conference for OSBA a couple weeks ago. It was a lot of fun, a lot of networking, talking to other districts. They did some legislation, but the highlight of the evening was they recognized Mr. Dahl for 30 years of service. So I just wanted to put that in their report and congratulations. And that's the end of the report.
All right, next, Treasurer's update. Good evening.
So we've talked a lot about a lot of different legislation that's out there. I'm not giving you a PowerPoint presentation tonight because we don't have anything updated on House Bill 96. I do believe that the House is scheduled to release their budget on April 1st with a vote on April 9th. And so that the simulations that come out after those usually take 10 days to 2 weeks. So hopefully for the work session in April, if not the work session, then the regular meeting in April, we'll have some updated numbers and take a look at how that's impacting us. There, as Amanda said, there is so much out there. There's so much. And so we're doing our best to try to keep track of the things that really will impact us. The other thing that I just wanted to point out here, and we can talk about it when we get to that part of the agenda, is that item number 4 under the Treasurer's recommendation is something that we look at once a year. We did board approve similar resolutions last year. The Board of Revision process changed last year going into this cycle. It used to be that we could just file increased complaints as they were brought to our attention. We only do this for commercial or industrial properties. We never file on residential homes. The reappraisal process takes care of that. But some of the commercial and industrial pieces are higher in value. This isn't additional revenue for the district, but House Bill 920 kicks in with this. And so it's forcing the various taxpayers to pay their fair share. And so what has happened in all of these cases is the auditor's value is very low compared to a recent sale. And so a property or a business was sold for a much higher value, and so this will catch that process up. And again, we have to have board approval for that now, which is a change in this last cycle. So if you have questions, I can entertain them now, or that's item number 4 tonight when we get there.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize, we've been criticized in the past by some people about that. We're going after our private taxpayers and their houses and their properties, which is we've not done. These
No.
are businesses. We don't go after
Yes.
individual homeowners
Yes,
at all.
correct. The
Okay.
majority of these properties, there are not names listed. It's holding corporations and things located in other states. They're local businesses, but they are, the actual ownership of the business or the property isn't even in Centerville. So that's correct. We only look at this for commercial and industrial properties.
Okay. Thank you. Student Services.
Good evening. We're going to talk a little bit about homeless. Every year we do a little update on homeless and classifications of homeless. So just a reminder, the definition for homeless for school districts is that, these are individuals. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're living in public places or they're living in their cars, but they could be doubled up with families, with other family members, they could be in shelters, or they could be in camping grounds. Next, you have fixed, regular, and adequate homelessness. So when you look at fixed, it means that it is stationary, permanent, and not subject to change. So living with a family member, you understand that, that is, I'm staying at this home. It's there. It's always there. Regular is used on a predictable, routine, consistent basis, considered the relevant permanence. And then the adequate is lawfully and reasonably sufficient for meeting the physical and psychological needs typically met in a home environment. So those are all the ways that the Ohio Department of Workforce and Education, or Education Workforce, actually define homelessness. School selection, it's important to note that for the consistency of education, students should remain in their school of origin. So, when we have students that are living here and they become homeless, so if they are evicted or there's a fire or something like that, and they end up being homeless, and let's say that they go and they stay with grandma and grandpa that live in Dayton, that means that they don't enroll in Dayton public schools, they remain here in Centerville, and vice versa. So you have your families, if they're attending Miamisburg and they end up staying here with families, then they stay in Miamisburg and for education purposes, and it's in between Miamisburg and Centerville, or Centerville and Dayton, or whichever combination you have, to be able to provide transportation for that student. So that brings us to the next part, which is transportation. When a family becomes homeless, we are still responsible for getting them to and from school, and it's to and from the school that is in the best interest of the child. When looking at that, we know that interruptions in education, even if you were going to go from one of our elementary buildings to another one of our elementary buildings, that is still an interruption in education. So that can have an effect on how well a student is learning. So when you're looking at that, we're looking at being able to get them back and forth to the place that they originated from. So again, remaining here in Centerville. Our numbers are up just a little bit this year. So we're back up. We have 32 students who are currently homeless. Our trend has stayed pretty much the same. In 2020, although I only put to 2021 here, we had 33. This year we have 32. So we fluctuate a little bit, but that's usually where we stay, which is affecting 27 of our families. It's important to note that 9 of those students are actually on an IEP. 2 of those have a 504, and 3 of those students are English language learners. So again, anything, those are students, all students are affected if they are homeless, but those are students that have even more risk of having some educational difficulties because of the deficits that they are already facing. it is pretty much, it's pretty much all I have for homeless. If you know someone that is homeless or you have some concerns, you can either contact me, my information is up there, or Tom Kesselman, who is our school attendance and family resource officer. Any questions?
And most of these fall into the fixed categories?
Most of these fall into the fixed categories. It's pretty rare for us to not have someone that is in a fixed category. Sometimes we will have them in a public facility, but usually they're in a fixed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, next, treasurer's recommendations. Consider approving the February 25 financial statements, monthly general fund rolling report, monthly cash reconciliation, monthly fund activity report, then and now purchase orders approved by administration, certified by the treasurer, and supported by the board resolution totaling $13,977.61.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Next, consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings. February 24th, regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes, consider approving a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor for tax year 25-26.
So moved.
Second.
Want to explain that real
Yes,
quick?
yes, I'm happy to explain that, and I'm sorry I didn't do that during my report. This is a yearly compliance piece that we're required to submit to the county auditor. It's basically just a listing of the levies that are in existence and the years they were passed and so on. So it is a county auditor compliance.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Next, consider approving resolutions authorizing the filing of original complaints against tax valuation pursuant to RC 5715.19 for the following properties that are listed below.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Superintendent's recommendations. Superintendent recommends accepting resignation as listed on Schedule A. Superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status, or change of contract status for the certificated personnel listed on Schedule B for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. Recommends the employment or change of employment status for the support staff personnel listed on Schedule C for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. Recommends the employment of personnel listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments, and recommends the granting of leaves of absence for the personnel listed on Schedule E for the reason and on the dates given.
So moved.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution where the Board of Education authorizes and directs the school district's joinder of the Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy of School Funding for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? I would like to just say one thing. Sarah Swan has put out a very good, frequently asked questions that I just want, if people have questions about this, it's a great location to go to. I do want to read just one of the statements on here. And one of the frequently asked questions was, why did the board feel it was necessary to join the lawsuit now? And I just want to read the answer. So I know people can look at it online, but it says, because of the way schools are funded in Ohio, districts like Centerville receive very small amount of state funding and they have to rely on local property taxes. This means we are faced with asking voters to approve new levies every few years to keep up with rising costs. Over the past 2 years, we have listened to the community's frustration and concerns about school funding in Ohio. We heard from individuals through emails and letters, during public participation at our board meeting, and during our community forums over the past several months. People want to know what this school board and other district leaders are doing to advocate for changes to state funding. We have tried talking to our state representatives. The bottom line is Ohio lawmakers have continued to expand the voucher program, spending about $1 billion on universal vouchers in fiscal year 25 alone. This February, Governor DeVine's office released a budget proposal for 26-27 that decreases overall funding for public schools in Ohio by 0.9%, while increasing funding for voucher program by 15.8%. We hope that by joining our voice with more than now 300 other public school districts, our legislators will work toward a fairer school funding system. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
I was just going to say, sorry,
Okay.
I was just going to say, I completely agree with that statement, and I think it is important that we as a district do something. My understanding is that the lawsuit is not expected to move forward until November, and as we discussed in the work session and back in February, I'd like to we have a private group in the community that is ready, willing, and able, my understanding, to raise some private funds to fund the joiner fee, and I'd like to be able to give them an opportunity to do so with the potential to join the lawsuit in the 25-26 fiscal year. But I agree. I think that's a fabulous response. I think this is something we absolutely can do. I would just like to be able to show the community that we have done what we can to offset the cost to our general fund budget.
Okay. And I've got also understanding that fundraising will still continue throughout this time. Should we join now versus in July, the fee will be the same, and this cycle will then get us through not just this year and then another one in July, but we'll go all the way till July of 26. I think the fundraising will continue to help offset some of these costs. Call the roll, please.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I think that this is, I just think it's important that the community knows this is something that we have really put a lot of thought and discussion into. I think Mrs. Dernbaugh and I have been on a very similar page in terms of feeling very concerned about using district funds for this. It is something that is coming right down to the wire, and I do think that we're at the point where it's timely to do to join our voices with other districts. This is now happening more frequently in our community. It was just a topic in a neighboring district with candidates recently, and it's just not something I want anyone in our community to think that we've taken lightly or done flippantly in any way, shape, or form. It's really something that I think it's important that we stand up for the school district and for our students and community. And that's kind of where I'm at this point.
Okay, call the roll.
Yeah. Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
No.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Next, consider a resolution approving the lowest and best bid for purchase of boilers, VAC, which we now know what that is, boxes for the CHS back gym project to commercial HVAC for a total of $469,000.
So moved.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution to purchase 1,300 Acer 511 Chromebooks from CDWG for $398,450.
So moved.
Second?
And again, we were talking about this at the work session. This is actually $500 less than what we would have gotten, and we
$530.
$530 less, I'm sorry. And the reason we have to change is because of the current situation in the government where tariffs have been applied, and the original company couldn't stick with their original quote because of a 15% increase due to the tariff. So fortunately, with great work and hard work, we got a better deal at a lower price. So congratulations on that. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. Any final comments regarding past or old business in the Board of Education?
Yeah, I'd like to comment about the idea that we're spending money inappropriately on our staff. I know this comes up a number of times. The best thing that could happen to us is that instead of giving us less money, maybe the state could give us the same amount of money they're giving people to send their children to private schools, which is $8,000 in high school, over that, something like $6,000 or $7,000 to go to elementary or middle school, while for our general fund population from the state, we get around $1,700 for that item alone. So if we could get the kind of money they're giving others, including charter schools, which is the same amount, we wouldn't have to go into a ballot so often. They're not doing that, and in fact, they're going to give us less. They can give us a whole lot of options. Thank you.
I'll just throw out a little comment that's also in the follow-on dog tag on that. During the 23 school year, 95 students in Centerville, Washington Township took vouchers. 24-25, that 95 is now 928. It's gone from 95 to 928. Yet during the same period, the enrollment in the private and pro schools has not increased. So the money is going to people that were sending their kids there anyhow, yet the state is giving them buku bucks to now send it and pay for it. So this is why, unfortunately, we have to go back and ask for levy after levy after levy. And it's going to get worse if this continues.
And the idea of that was give people choice. Parents are already making a choice, and how they're getting $8,000, $10,000 to continue with that. They're not taking kids out of our school in any great number, because they're getting a lot more money.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Call the roll.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes. And we would encourage you to head down to the gymnasium,
Head
right?
down to the gym.
All right. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Over 600 band students performing.